Welcome back everyone. In the last video, we built the UI for our YouTube video downloader. So in this video, we'll write in some code to get the details of the video and download it. So let's open up Visual Studio and an update on the UI. So make sure you set the minimum size to whatever size we have set here, 800 by 450. So let's right click on the form and view code. So firstly, I'll add in the snippet which I already have to save time and keep the video length a bit shorter. This DLL file and the properties with this function here makes a form rectangular. So let's just run our form and see how it looks now. So here you can see we have some curvy borders over here. Our form is not movable when we try to drag and move it. So let's add in that code first. So to make our form movable when we try to drag on this top panel, so let's add in few variables that are required. And now let's add in the functionalities. So below our constructor, let's add it. So here you can see I have three functions. One is for mouse down, the other is for mouse move, and then the mouse up. Once we have these functions now, let's go to our form and click on the top panel. Also, let's make sure we add this functionality to these labels as well and the logo. So let's do some event binding here. So let's search for mouse down and choose this mouse down function that we just added, and mouse move and mouse up. Looks good. Now let's save it and start the application. Okay, now let's try moving it. So here you can see we are able to move the form. And let's try with the label and the logo as well. You can see you can move it. Okay, now let's add in a functionality for minimize and closing. So let's see, close button, double click on it. Also, let's click on minimize button, and let's add in the functionality for about form as well. Okay, so now let's do it one by one. So for close, it is very simple. It's just a one-liner code. It's environment.exit, and let's pass in the status code 1. So that will complete our close button action. Now let's add in some code for minimize button. So it will just check the window state. If it is normal, it will make it minimized, and vice versa again. Now let's add in some code for opening the about form as well. On the click of this about button, let's click alt enter on this. Let's import it. Okay, so once this is done, we now need to go to the form and add in some code there as well. So let me add that. So for the about button, firstly let's open our about form. Let's go ahead and double click on this. So let's add in some code for our close button. Let's double click on this. So here we'll just do this dot close. This would do it. Also, to move our about form, let's add in the code which you already have. So and copy here, and also copy the functions for mouse down, mouse move, and mouse up. Let's paste it here, and we'll see. Let's click on this form and go to events. Let's choose mouse down, mouse move, and mouse up functions. Okay, so this is done. Since we have added all these functionalities, now let's run the form and check if they are working fine. So let's first try minimizing. So here is our form minimized, and then getting it to normal state. That works. Let's click on the about button. So here you can see this about form. So it's good to change the color of this form, but you guys can do it as per whatever the color you like. And let's click on the close button. This works. So let's try for the close button of this main form. This works as well. So all our functionalities are working fine. Let me just do one thing. Go to the about form, click on the form, and change its start position to central screen. Let's close this. Now let's add in functionalities for hiding these labels and all those things. Let's actually increase the width of this combo box. Okay, so firstly let's choose these labels here and make it empty in the constructor. Let's hide this. Let's change its visibility. So we'll add a default value here. For now I'll keep it empty. Let's add in few variables over here. So one is the app path and the other is the destination path. So this will be our default location. So let's set this from empty string to the destination path. We have to check initially when our app is running for the first time that this folder exists. If it does not exist in the initial run, so we have to create the folder. So let me add in the code for the same. So we'll just check if the directory exists. If it does not, let's create. So let's import this library, system.io. Okay, also let's disable the download button dot enabled is false. All this looks good. Now let's add in some functionality for the settings button to toggle this settings panel. So let me add in some code here. So for this we need we'll write another utility function, so that we can call it from our constructor over here by default when it runs, and then we toggle it using the settings button. So let me add in that function as well. So this is a function here for opening settings panel. So this is a boolean variable. Let's add it. Let me copy this, add it over here. So we'll set this false by default. So let me just walk you through this code. So we'll check if the settings like this boolean variable is true or false. If it is true, then it will make it visible, the settings panel visible. So we'll set the visibility to true, and we'll just set the width and the height. So we'll take the current height of the form and add settings panel.height. If not, we'll just minus that particular panel's height and set the visibility to false. So let's do the invocation here. So on click of settings button, firstly let's grab this variable and we'll get its value, and we'll just get the opposite value of that. Okay, then we would just call open settings panel a function. Okay, so now let's make a call to this function in our constructor. Let's add in over here. Minimum height, let's say 300 minimum height, should be fine. And Let's try to run this again. So here you can see the settings panel is hidden. Let's click on the settings button, and here you can see the settings panel shown again. So this keeps toggling on this click. Now let's add in functionality for, let's say we copy a YouTube URL from the YouTube page, and just click on this text box. It has to be pasted, and we need to get the video details, the thumbnail and the name of it, and the resolutions as well. So let's add in that functionality. Let me close this. Okay, so here we need firstly, let's add in the functionality for the URL, the video details grabbing. We might need a background worker so that this happens within the background. So we'll call this background worker, let's say fetch video details background worker, and we'll change the report progress to true, and we'll add in the functionalities also. And for progress changed. Okay, so we have this, and now let's go to our constructor URL text box dot got focus. We'll add in a function over here. So let's call it URL tb got focus. So this is the function. This is not there yet, so let's create one. Okay, so let's add in some code here. So firstly we need to grab in the link. So let me create a variable over here, and let's copy from the clipboard get text. Okay, so now we have the value here, and we'll just paste in that value. We'll just add the value to the text box. So URL text box dot text is equal to link. Okay, now we need to do some background process that gets the video details like thumbnail and the name of the video and all those things. So let's add in that code as well. Let's write a separate function for that and call it in our background worker. So I'll just add that function. So here is these two functions. So it'll start fetching the video, and it'll call validate URL firstly. So just to check if the added URL is valid or not, valid YouTube URL or not. So let's import these libraries from system.net. This is imported, and now let's make a call to this method. Okay, this looks good. Let's actually cut this piece of code and edit in this function after the validation. Okay, this all this looks good, and now we need to add some code in our background worker. So let's go here and let's add in some code. So before going ahead, now we need to download a library. So let's go to project, click on manage new get packages, search for libvideo, and let's install this library. Let's click on I accept. Okay, so the package is now successfully installed, and we can close this tab. Now let's add in some code to our background worker. Okay, so let's add in another function here. So this is for updating the video details. So what it actually does is it just updates the thumbnail. So let's import this library from system.web. Okay, I guess it was a different name, video thumbnail. Yeah, here we have it. So we are updating the thumbnail. Let's make a call to this function. So let's add in some more code. So I've added in this code. So all this does is, okay, like we need few things over here. So let's add them and rename this video. I guess it was title label, if I'm not wrong. Let's go ahead and check that once. It was video title label. Okay, now let's add in these three variables. So here we have a YouTube instance and a list of YouTube videos. So here you can see all the errors are gone. So all this piece of code does is it uses the YouTube lib video library. Using the link, it will get the videos. So this is all the resolutions that the video has, and then it will do a filter that it will check only for type of videos, and the format of the audio should be either MP3 or AAC, and that's what it's returning here. And then it's updating our combo box, or you can call it the drop down box. So it'll just set it, and it'll choose it'll just set the text of that, and by default it is I mean the first option there. And here it's updating our video title text, and just calling this background worker that it's saying that the task is complete. So let's add in some code here as well. Here all we have to do is like just set the download button. We just have to enable it. It should do it. So let's check this part of code, whatever we have added. Let me grab a YouTube URL. So here I have a video from our channel on AWS Glue local setup. So let me copy this URL. Let's change the zoom, and then let's start it. So when I focus onto my text box, so it gets pasted, and here you can see the thumbnail and the name also. But let's add in some wrapping up for this title over here, and we can see the download button getting enabled, and in the drop down we'll have options for downloading the videos. So let's close this and add in code for downloading the video. Before that, let's do some wrapping up for this text over here. Let's say maximum size width should be 380 maybe, and make sure auto size is true. Let's start it. You can see this is wrapped up now. Okay, so let's close this and add in the functionality, grabbing the path of this, I mean the destination path. Let's see if this, okay, we have added a default value, so that's okay. Okay, now let's add in the functionality here. And now let's try running it. So this is the default one. Let's try to change it. Let me change it to maybe desktop. Click on OK. Here you can see it's changed. So let's close this and add in code for downloading the video. Let's double click on the download button and on click of it. So we have to do a couple of things. So let's add a background worker again. So let's call it download video background worker, and it will report the progress. So let's set it to true, and let's add in those functions. Okay, let's see. Let's go ahead here. We are in the events page. So on index changed, let's add in some code there. So this would just be to grab the video that we select. Let's start this. Before that, let me grab the YouTube URL. I'll start this. Open the file explorer. Here you can see the folder is not present, but when the application got invoked, it got created. Let me add in the URL here, and we have got these details. So let's choose one, and let me show you that there are no videos in the downloads folder yet. So here you can see. Let's go here. Let's choose any one. Let's click on download. Our download started and it got successfully completed, and here is our video. Okay, so once the download is complete, now we have to disable this loading part. Let's do that. We close this and minimize this. So once it is completed, let's say, okay, let's actually cut this part, add it over here, and let's do the loading, maybe visibility to false. And we need to report the progress, so we'll do that. So this is done. Now let's retry it again. Let's copy the YouTube video URL. Let's start our application. Let me delete this. So here's our application, and let's add the URL. Let's choose 720p right now. Let's click on download. It's downloading. And it got successfully downloaded. And let's click on OK, and this loading part goes off. Let me run this video and show it to you. So, onto AWS. Go ahead and click on it. So it is. We have the full length video. So that you never miss out any of our latest updates. After this tutorial, I'll be this. So in the upcoming videos, probably we'll add the stopping part and other stuff. We'll try to upgrade this application. So that is it for this video, guys. If you found this was interesting, hit on the like button, share it with your friends, and comment your thoughts below, and subscribe to our channel if you haven't yet, and hit on the notification bell so you never miss out any of our latest updates. Thank you for watching. I look forward to meet you guys in the next video.